I want to talk about generally the research and its impact in the field of the science of happiness in general, or positive psychology in particular. One of the biggest insights that Marty Seligman and Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi and Barbara Fredrickson and other founders of the field of positive psychology introduced was that focusing on happiness or joy or love or strengths does not mean doing so to the exclusion of sadness and depression and conflict and weaknesses. In other words, I go back to the continuum that I often refer to. And let's say on that continuum, we have a point 0. That's neutral. That's when we're okay. On the one side of that continuum, call it the negative side, we have sadness, we have depression, we have anger, we have frustration, we have hatred, we have envy, we have fear and anxiety. All the painful emotions, that's on the negative side. On the positive side, we have, once again, joy and love and gratitude and fun and so on. And when a positive psychology focuses on cultivating joy or fun or love or excitement, when it focuses on these emotions, it doesn't just help us become more positive, so to speak. It doesn't just take us, if we're on the pleasure scale at 3, it doesn't just take us to 5. It also helps us better deal with the negative. Why? Because we become more resilient. So if I express gratitude regularly, appreciating what I have in life, yeah, we'll become happier. Joy levels will go up. I'll go from a 3 to a 4. And I will also better be able to deal with the negative, whether it's my anxiety or sadness. So focusing on the positive doesn't just help the positive, it also helps on the negative side. So that's the general idea. Specifically, I had a conversation recently with a good friend of mine who is doing her graduate work on conflict resolution. And she was asking how positive psychology can contribute to conflict resolution, how it contributes, and why it contributes. So we know that it does. We know that if you introduce more pleasure, joy, fun, excitement, interest, curiosity, strength-focused approach, gratitude, any of the interventions that we talk about, if you introduce it into the space of conflict resolution, we'll solve conflicts a lot better. In fact, we'll have fewer conflicts. And when we do, we're much more likely to emerge with a win-win rather than a win-lose solution. And the question is, why? Why does improving or increasing pleasurable emotions contribute to conflict resolution? And when I talk about conflict resolution, I mean it on a national level. So if you have politicians talking to each other, or on the individual level, if you have, couples talking to each other, or friends, or business associates. So whether you're talking micro happiness on the individual level or macro happiness on the group or national level, increasing positive or pleasurable emotions can help. Why? First of all, let's start with Barbara Fredrickson's work. So Barbara Fredrickson talks about the broaden and build phenomenon. What's the broaden and build phenomenon? So just quickly to go over it again, for those of you who've already heard about it. When we experience painful emotions, we narrow and constrict, meaning our perspective, our view narrows. And that's a good thing. Once again, we're in trouble. There is a lion facing us right now. I want to think about that lion and how to survive rather than start thinking about, 100 different things and how beautiful the sky is right now. I'll be eaten up if I do. So narrow and constrict when I'm experiencing a painful emotions such as fear or depression. I just want to think about, how can I get over this? What can I do to alleviate my pain? I focus just on that particular thing. The same when I am angry at someone, because we're in conflict right now. So I only think about, how can I overcome that person, beat that person, win, lose. That's painful emotions. Pleasurable emotions broaden and build. Now I'm not in danger. Now I can relax, chill. Now I can see the bigger picture. I can look at the sky or the flowers. Which is why the research connects positive emotions or pleasurable emotions with creativity. Because what is creativity? Creativity is about thinking outside the box. So you have 10-year-old kids. This is research by Alice Eisen. Research by Alice Eisen shows that if you make kids feel good, 10-year-old kids, they'll come up with more creative works of art, more creative solutions to a problem that is posed to them. She showed the exact same things with medical doctors. You make them feel good, they come up with better solutions to a medical problem. They're more likely to be able to help their clients because they're more likely to think outside the box. Broaden and build versus narrow and constrict. There's an interesting story about Einstein, who said that he came up with his best ideas when he was playing his violin. Best ideas in physics when he was playing his violin. Why? Because he was in a good mood when he was playing his violin. He loved music. And that good mood broadened and built, expanded his focus, and he was able to be more creative. In conflict resolution, or when you're in conflict, and you insert a positive prompt so that you feel better, you broaden and build, and you're more likely to think of solutions, creative solutions. Also, when you broaden and build, you're not just looking at yourself, me, you're looking at us. How can we emerge stronger, better, healthier from this interaction? So that's the first reason why positive emotions lead to better outcome. Second, what positive emotions do, even a small trigger, it is create an upward spiral. So one positive emotion leads to another positive emotion, and that to another and another, and so on and so forth. And as a result of it, coupled with the fact that positive emotions are contagious. So if I experience a positive emotion and I smile, the person sitting across the desk from me is likely to do the same. And positive emotions know no boundaries, meaning if I experience joy, I'm more likely to experience positive emotions towards the person who's sitting in front of me. So I begin to care about them more. There is a terrible, terrible study which was done with animals. And basically it had two animals, let's say two rats in a box. And one of the rats was given an electric shock. the immediate reaction of that rat was to attack the rat next to it. Even though that rat next to it had nothing to do with the shock. But the automatic response was, I get hurt, I hurt others. And think about it. Think about it in the context of relationships. How many conflicts begin between partners because one side is hurt? Even if that side is hurt by something or someone else, even if that side was hurt 30 years ago by a significant adult in their life, very often that is played and replayed in relationships today. Once again, we're hurt. Our inclination is to externalize that hurt. And very often to hurt another, even though they have nothing to do with our hurt. The opposite is also the case. We also externalize positivity, joy. If I feel good for whatever reason, it could be because something happened 30 years ago, I'm more likely to externalize that and bring that positivity and do good rather than hurt the person sitting across from me. So if I come with an open mind, I want a win-win. I'm much more likely to come up with a win-win than if I come with a closed mind and say, it's all about me, me, me. It's either me or them. So whatever way we find to increase positivity in the context of relationships for one person will usually have an effect on the other person. Certainly when we're talking about conflict resolution. This is why you want a good relationship, whether it's with your child or with your best friend or with your partner or with your colleagues at work. You want that relationship to improve? Begin with the self. Improve your relationship towards yourself, because how you treat others is very often a reflection of how you treat yourself. How you feel towards others is very often, certainly in the long term, a reflection of how you feel towards yourself. And I go back to one of, my favorite quotes by Confucius. If you want to bring harmony to your state, start by bringing harmony to your neighborhood. To bring harmony to your neighborhood, bring harmony to your family. You want to bring harmony to your family, bring harmony to the self, to your heart, and to your mind. So Confucius is creating these concentric circles that begin with the self and expand outward. And that is how a positive psychology, a science of happiness, can contribute even to conflict resolution, conflict with another. You improve your mood, you broaden and build, you look for a win-win. You have a favorable outlook towards the person on the other side. Much more likely to come up with a win-win.